everybody. I hope y'all are doing well. I am going to make my carrot cake for Easter. We're just going to make the cake part and then wrap it and put it in the freezer for a few days. So that way, that's something that I don't have to do the day before Easter to get that done. All we'll have to do is pull it out the freezer and thaw it and frost it and be done with that. So that's what I'm going to work on today. I hope y'all are doing well today. First, we're going to sift our flour, baking powder, baking soda, and salt together. So we've got 2 cups of all-purpose flour. We've got, let me look at this recipe. This is my mom's recipe, so I'm not used to, this is the first time I've made this cake. My mom usually makes the cake. 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of salt. So all of that is in here, and we are going to sift it out. Okay? That's all sifted together. So we're going to get our sugar and our oil in our mixer here and get that started. So it is 2 cups of sugar and 1 1/4 cups of oil. This is just vegetable oil. You can use whatever you have. There's the 1/4 cup. And 1 cup. I just bought this little bottle from the dollar store yesterday because I didn't have any oil, vegetable oil. I'm trying not to buy vegetable oil or seed oils for that matter. But this recipe calls for oil, so we're going to use oil. Mom said, don't use butter. So I'm not using butter. So we're going to get that going real quick until it is nice and combined. Get that on there so I don't make a mess. So also with this recipe, it calls for 3 cups of grated carrots. I grated these earlier in the food processor. I think it's a little over 3 cups, but that's okay. So we're going to add those, but not yet. Those don't go in yet. So as soon as this is mixed well, we are going to add in our dry ingredients. So we're going to add half of this now. And then we're going to start adding our eggs. It calls for 4 eggs. So there's 1. 2. 3. And 4. Okay. Now this original recipe didn't call to add any spices. That's something that my mom did years ago. This recipe book that this come out of is very, very old. I don't even think it has a cover on it. So we're going to do 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. There's 1. And 2. An 1/8 of a teaspoon of dried ground clove. Okay. And an 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. So I have fresh nutmeg, so I'm just going to guess. We'll say that's an 1/8 of a teaspoon. Okay. I'm going to mix all the spices in with the rest of this flour. And then I'm going to add the rest of my dry ingredients. We're going to add in our carrots and then add in our pecans. So it's a cup of finely chopped pecans. So let me take this off now that I'm done with my dry ingredients. And throw in our pecans. Get my edges all wiped down. Okay. Let that mix for another minute just so it's well combined. I want to make sure everything's really well combined. Okay. And my mom usually makes this into a bundt cake, and it says to cook it for like 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'm making a layered cake with cream cheese frosting. So it's not going to take 1 hour and 15 minutes for these cakes to bake. So I'm just going to have to watch them and check them. Okay, I'm going to try my best to get these as even as possible, but you know, sometimes that doesn't always happen. So we'll see. And these are just 9-inch cake pans. So just your basic cake pan. So a little over 2 cups per pan. We're going to get these in the oven at 325 degrees. Probably just going to keep an eye on them, maybe 20, 25, 30 minutes. We'll just have to see. Okay, I'm going to get all this cleaned up and picked up. And when those come out of the oven, I will show you what they look like. It's been about 30 minutes right at 30 minutes since I put the cakes in the oven. They are not done yet, but they are getting close, so I'm just going to keep an eye on them, and then I will let you guys know exactly how long they do have to stay in there before they are done. While I'm waiting on those cakes to get done, I'm going to go ahead and wash these potatoes so I can start prepping for our dinner tonight. We're going to have some chicken leg quarters and potatoes and carrots in the oven. So I'm going to go ahead and get these washed up and cut up and ready to go for our dinner. Okay, I'm going to make me up some butter, some seasoned butter to rub on under the skin of my chicken so I can season it with. So probably going to do like, I don't know, a half a stick of butter. And this is soft because it was sitting out in my butter dish. About a half a teaspoon of salt. My husband is not big on salt at all. He does not care for salt. Pepper. Garlic. A little bit of Italian seasoning. And I have this roasted garlic and herb from Weber. And I really do like their seasonings. They make one that's a garlic parmesan or something like that. And that is one of my favorites. So about a teaspoon of that. And we'll get this mixed up. And I don't know, for those of y'all who don't know, Delilah is our little goat that we had in the house. She was very sick and I had to take her from her mom. So I had to literally revive her. She was almost dead. And bring her back to life and bottle feed her. So she has been in the house she was born February 16th. So I brought her in the house February 18th. So 2 months, roughly, almost, she's been in the house. And I'm trying to get her adapted to going outside. And she is not very happy at all. Like, I put her outside yesterday for a little while, probably about half a day. And I brought her in last night because I don't want to just throw her out there, after all this time that she spent in the house with us. And she follows the dogs around. She thinks she's a dog. I've tried to take her out with the goats and she won't have anything to do with the goats, but she'll follow the dogs around. So I'm trying to get her acclimated to going outside and being with the goats. And sometimes I can just hear her hollering out there, and she just seems like somebody is chasing the life out of her. And it's just our other little 3-week-old baby goat out there that's trying to play with her. And she is running for her life, y'all. I mean, like, it's the funniest thing. You would think that some big monster was chasing her. So it's breaking my heart, but I know she has to go outside. We cannot have a goat living in our house permanently. So just part of farm living. Okay, so we're working on about 50 minutes with these cakes in the oven. So I'm going to give those a check really quick and kind of see where we're at with those before I start cutting the potatoes, because I don't want to get into something and then have to stop and do something else. So we'll give these a check and see how we're doing. 50 minutes and we're still going. So I guess it might take an hour and 15 minutes. I really didn't think it was going to with the small cake pan, but I'm not sure. Maybe the batter's so thick. I don't know. Anyway, we're just going to let it go and we'll get back to it shortly. So right now I'm just going to get these potatoes cut up to go in our dinner tonight. And I just washed these. A couple of little bad spots. We'll cut those out. These potatoes sure have a lot of bad spots in them. That's okay. We're going to cut around that bad stuff because my grandma would have a fit if she seen me try to throw something away when I can cut around it. Besides, my chickens will be happy to get anything I throw to them. And my pigs too, for that matter. My sow is about to give birth soon. Probably in the next week or two. And she is big, y'all. She is so big and miserable. And I felt her belly yesterday, and I could feel those little piglets just moving around in there. So she is getting close. Last time she had piglets, she had 13 or 14. I don't remember exactly. So I don't know how many she'll have this time. Well, I guess we'll see. Okay. I am thinking those are really close to being done. Let me get these potatoes in my skillet here. And I have a few carrots left over from when I grated the carrots earlier, so I'm going to grab those and put those in there too. I would have liked to have more carrots, but that's okay. I'm just going to use what I got. I'm going to grab an onion. Let me check on these cakes. We are looking at a little over 55 minutes. Toothpick coming out clean, so we're going to say we're done. So these are done. I've put a toothpick in them. The toothpick has come out clean, so I'm just going to let these cool and pan over on our cooling racks, and then when they are nice and cool, I'm going to take them out, wrap them up, and throw them in the freezer. And that way it'll be a lot easier for me to just go ahead and take them out and frost them come Easter instead of having to bake the cake and so on and so forth. So I'm just trying to make life a little bit easier. So we're going to let those cool, and I'm going to go ahead and leave the oven on because this is going to go in shortly. I had an onion in the fridge that I had already sliced a bit, so. Okay. And here's my chicken. Now I'm going to go ahead, before I touch this chicken, I'm going to go ahead and season my potatoes and carrots. So we're going to do some salt. And this is Redmond's real kosher salt. I love this salt. And some garlic powder. Okay. Black pepper, and this is restaurant style, so it's a little coarse. It's not really fine. And I love black pepper. We eat a lot of it, so I think I'm going to hold off on the Italian seasoning. I'm going to put some of this garlic and herb on here. And I love garlic. I feel like you can't have too much of that when you're cooking something. As a matter of fact, I have some frozen garlic in the freezer. I'm going to grab one of those. And I don't know if y'all watched or not, but I did a video on when I made up this garlic to put it in the freezer. So they're just frozen, and I'll crumble that up, break it up into pieces. But you do want to double bag these in the freezer because they will smell up your freezer. Not that it bothers me because I love garlic, but you know, you don't want everything in your freezer smelling like garlic, and you don't want to smell like garlic every time you open the freezer either. So, okay, so now I'm going to take my butter that I did, and I'm just going to get a little bit on my fingers, and we are going to rub up under the skin of our chicken leg quarters and make it nice and tasty under there. You don't want to pull the skin all the way off. You just want to be able to get under it. And I'm going to use all this butter, so me sticking my hands in there has nothing to do with it. It's going to be fine. And I did pat these down with a paper towel and dry them. Okay. Okay. What I have left will go in here. Get my hot water running. So this chicken is going to sit on top of here. If I can get them all in this pan. Okay. And these came on the chicken leg quarters, so I'm just going to throw those in a pot and cook them down, and then they can go to the dogs or something. So we'll get rid of those. Let me get my hands cleaned up and get this cleaned up, and then we'll sprinkle some seasoning and throw that in the oven. Okay, and this is going to go in an oven at 375 degrees until our chicken reaches an internal temperature of 165 degrees, until our potatoes are done, whichever. We'll see. Okay, that's cooking. So I'm going to get all this cleaned up, and then I will bring you guys back when it's done so you can see everything when it's done. Okay, so I think our cakes are cool enough. I'm going to get those wrapped up. I would normally wrap them in saran wrap or plastic wrap, but I do not have any at this point. But I have aluminum foil, so we're going to wrap them in aluminum foil, and they're going to be just fine because they're only going to be in the freezer for just a few days. So let me grab the cakes and the foil, and we'll get them wrapped up. Hopefully these will come out without an issue, so we will see. Ta-da! I'm so happy. Oh my goodness. Okay. So there's one down. No promises. No promises. Two. I know I'm wrapping these different. There's not really a specific way to wrap them. That was almost a big boo-boo. That one's got my fingerprints in it. That's okay. Nobody is going to know when the frosting gets put on it. And we are going to do a cream cheese frosting, but I'm not going to make that until Easter morning. And I'll pull these cakes out Saturday. So they came right out. Well, that means I get to taste it, right? If y'all are looking for a good carrot cake recipe, this is it. Hands down, so good. One of the best carrot cakes I've ever eaten. Like when we make a carrot cake in our family, this is our go-to recipe. Okay, so I'm going to get these in the freezer, and then we're going to come back and check on our chicken and see how it's doing. Those are reading at 164, 167. They're all reading different, so I'm just going to let those stay in there for another 10, 15 minutes just to make sure they're cooked all the way through, because we don't do raw chicken. I might eat a medium rare steak, but when it comes to my chicken, it's got to be done. So we're going to let that go for another 10, 15 minutes or so just to make sure. Whew. That is hot, hot, hot. All right. We're going to let this rest for about 10 minutes or so before we try to pull into that chicken, because it is super hot. Okay, let's get this plated up and see what we are working with. I'll take this smaller piece here. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Tristan, are you ready to eat, son? Well, come on in here so we can tell everybody how good this is. Ice. This is mine. Yours has no ice in it. Right there.
Oh.
You want to stand over here with me? Or no? Let me get you a fork. You want a big fork or a little fork?
A little fork.
Okay. Okay, so potato first.
They're not hot.
Mmm.
That's good. It was cooked good.
Goodness, goodness, goodness.
Like a carrot.
Okay, you ate a carrot. Ooh, that's hot looking. Oh, that chicken looks good.
You know how I'm supposed to.
Let's pull it apart. Mmm. The chicken is really tender. And the potatoes are really tender and good.
I'm scraping.
That carrot was a little bit Not as tender as the potatoes, but that's okay. Well, it's delicious. Super easy. One pan. I didn't mess up a lot of dishes. I cooked it in the oven and just let the oven do the work. So thanks for watching Hallelujah Homestead, and we'll see you on the next video.